You got the music? I can hear the music. You got the music?
Yeah, we had the music. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Yeah, we had the music. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and how are you, Gilbert?
Well, I'm doing fine. I heard some echo in the background. I was waiting my turn. Hey, hey everyone, small businesses out there. Welcome to the new business zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And this is great, Crystal. This is great.
We're still working through technology, guys. We're not in the studio at the present moment, but we're working through technology. We're working through this post or this COVID 19 stay at home quarantine until I don't even know when we're supposed to come back.
Well, the first thing I want to say, Crystal, is happy Juneteenth Day to everyone out there, whether they acknowledge it or they have not yet acknowledged it, but we want to wish them a happy Juneteenth Day anyway.
Right, me too. It's taken on a whole different kind of flavor. I mean,
Yeah,
in the past, Juneteenth, we knew it was there. There are entities that celebrated more than others, especially those in Texas, because that's what it was for. And we're going to talk about that. What are the 9 important factors that you may not know about Juneteenth? But
yeah.
right now, America is embracing. Black folks have become the flavor of the month of the
Well,
of the period right now. Let's put it
let's
that
hope
way.
it's a lasting flavor.
Let's hope it's a lasting flavor. So right now they're embracing all things black. And so
That's right.
Juneteenth is because what do you got? Nike, you have so many companies are actually giving their employees the day off, which I
Oh,
think is
really?
yeah,
That is very encouraging. Very
yeah,
encouraging. Because you
yeah,
remember how long it took for them to acknowledge Martin Luther King's Day?
yeah,
So now that they're doing that, already, I raise my hat to them.
yeah. So yeah, I do too. So they're embracing it. I guess right now white America is trying to figure out where they fit
Yeah.
and how they can help. And so right now they're grasping at whatever is out there for them. So we'll let them
So
grasp. But I
so
think when they ask you what can we do, we should have a definitive answer for them.
and I think moving forward, we should refer to them as the system because once we start labeling them and calling them a certain color, then some people are probably gonna feel offended. So let's just call it the system. The system encompasses everyone who try to suppress us, everyone who try to hold us down,
The
and
establishment.
yeah, and sometimes we get some of our own who try to hold us down too. I can tell you one person right now. There's one at Edison that she tries to hold us down, and she's one of us. So it's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
it's the establishment, it's the system. Well, it's systematic racism is what it is.
yeah, exactly.
Whatever
That's why
that
that's why I
means.
call it the system.
Yeah, and whatever that means and whoever that applies to is systematic racism.
Yeah.
Uh, so for some housekeeping guys, we just want to let you know if you want to. First of all, we're live, and so hopefully you're watching us live. If not, you can go to the Business Zone and you can catch us live there. The website is strolling through, or you can go to our Facebook page and our YouTube page and you can catch us there. So we are live today, and the conversation and the topic today is on Juneteenth. Is it a celebration for freedom? And then our subtopic is we're going to be talking about the economics of freedom and emancipation and what that really means for people of color or for black folks in this case.
And for those of you who are just tuning in to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, I just want to explain to you guys what you're watching and what this program is all about. The Business Zone is a platform that helps to encourage, educate, inform, advise, and mentor small businesses. as how they can better prepare themselves to become business ready, contract ready, and in bank loan ready. So you guys can become self sufficient, operate in an efficient way, and also get connected to potential opportunities.
Okay. Yes, because that's important. So that's really what we're talking about, right? Because when we talk about freedom for us, and what is happening here? Freedom for us, we're talking about economics because basically without money, you are never going to be free. That's
That's
just the
right.
bottom line of it, right? You
That's
have to
right.
have revenue, you have to have income, you have to, it gives you power, it
Hmm.
gives you influence, and it gives you choices,
Autonomy.
autonomy, but it gives you choices, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
without that, when we talk about freedom, that's really what we're talking about. For the business zone, we're helping you, assisting you in becoming profitable businesses that can take care of your personal life, take care of your home life, take care of your family, and ultimately contribute to your communities, which
That's right.
then makes it overall a good thing for everybody in our race. So that's really what we're going to talk about today.
That's right. Now, Crystal, did you want to tell our audience what Juneteenth is all about? So they'll have a better grasp of Juneteenth itself and why it's so important to us and why a lot of Americans are celebrating this today.
I certainly shall. So Juneteenth is, and I'm going to share a screen here so we can both all look at this together. So Juneteenth was actually the emancipation of a few grouping of individuals that didn't get the memo. Or purposely the memo wasn't distributed to them.
It was withheld.
It was
It
withheld.
was withheld so they can get more slave labor out of us.
Exactly. In fact, one of the things that it talked about was that in Texas, and this is where it was in Texas, right? So Texas, they were on the outskirts of the Civil War. So when President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which really was a political move, really wasn't, he wasn't embracing black folks to say y'all shouldn't be in slavery anymore. He actually did it to protect the Union. That's what he did. But
Yeah,
we happened to be the caveat that they were the leverage. We were the leverage, right, from the North
right.
and the South. So everyone that was in the Bible Belt or the southern part of the country that really benefited from slavery, they actually they already had the memo and when it went down. But in Texas, it wasn't until 1872 that they actually, or the 1870s, that they actually were told that it was that they were freed slaves. And so
So
then
they
they
were
start.
they were operating and they didn't know they're free.
Right, and I do think, from some of the research I did, I do think that they were, and I'm going to show the bigger screen so people can see it. I do think some of them did tell their slaves that they were free, but what happened was they they told them to hang on, to be patient, and that they would be paid wages now versus being working for free.
Right.
But they were waiting for these wages to happen. So still in actuality they were slaves.
And even when that happened and they realized that they were free and many of them saying, "Hooray, let's go." So they were breaking away and trying to start their own life. They were bushwhacked. They were bushwhacked, ambushed, and some of them were killed because these owners did not want to give up on their free labor. So it was just an amazing thing, and that's part of what we're doing here today with Black Lives Matters and a variety of different things because we know that what they're doing is not correct, but they still do it anyway. And that's what happened, even though those slaves were free and they were on their way to starting their own economy.
Right, exactly. But you have to remember, yeah. But would you give up your free labor? Heck no.
That's what happened. They didn't want to give it up because they were making a whole. They had a machine. It's like having a machine that makes money for them, and they
Yeah,
didn't have to pay. They didn't have to pay to make that machine work. That's what the slaves were.
that's
It was a labor that produces for them freely, and they were just making money. It's like getting a welfare check every week.
right. Exactly, exactly. And it just keeps coming in. It's like a good wine. It just keeps ticking, or a
Yeah,
Timex wine just keeps ticking forever. And
yeah.
they were doing, they were making hand over fist
Oh yeah.
of dollars.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, of course, they weren't going to tell them that they were free. They
Right.
still had them out in the fields picking cotton and fruits and whatever they were doing, and they
Right.
were still making money. So
Right.
that was the purpose of it. And so it's well celebrated in Texas because it really applied to Texas and not
Right.
necessarily to anybody else. But
Right.
now what we want to do is talk about the how it has affected other people. So one of the things that really, when I was doing the research, one of the things that really stood out to me, and I'm going to make this a little bigger so people can see it. In 1870, a group of former slaves pooled together their $800 through their churches and to purchase 10 acres of land and to create the Emancipation Park to host future Juneteenth celebrations in modern day Houston. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about today, is how we could actually contribute, come together as a collective whole, and be able to change the status in our community.
I think that's amazing foresight by that group, by them thinking, okay, we're going to pool this resources, we're going to purchase this land. And when we purchase this land, we're going to have events, we're going to have future events on this land to celebrate our freedom and many other things. So that was great. That was great foresight.
And I own the land, so no
And
one
I
can
own the land.
right. No one can come. Technically, no one can come to the land and tell me what I can and cannot do. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And
So
that's a great entrepreneurial approach to entrepreneurship. The one of the things that we should be thinking about as small and minority businesses is, when you're starting out, do you want to start in a dependent manner or an independent manner? That independent manner that these guys demonstrated is they bought the land. They
they
bought
bought
the
the
land. So
land.
therefore they didn't have to depend on someone else to rent from them.
No, they did not. And so that's what you're looking for, right? So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that. So there was and I talked about this, and I'm going to share hold on, I'm going to share the book here. I talked about, I'm going to stop this screen share, and I'm going to share the next one. I talked about this book last 2 years ago, I think. You may have remembered me talking about it, called Collective Courage.
Yeah.
And this book, what this book did was this doctor, her name is Jessica Gordon Nimhard, and she wrote a book on collectively using our resources, co-ops, in order to be able to change the economic fabric of our communities. And so there's and I'm going to read this to you. It's over here. That she did a lot of research, and this research was with in this book that she wrote. It is the answer to the economic freedom that we need. The W.E.D. Du Bois, he actually pushed economic cooperation because capitalism for us did not work, right? So his position was that African Americans were discriminated against economically, that we were trying to become capitalists and gain individual wealth just like other Americans. However, it wasn't working because of racism and discrimination.
Right.
So he thought that we should voluntarily form a group economic based on the sense of solidarity as one people, and use producers and consumer cooperatives to position ourselves to serve our economic needs separately from white economies
All right.
or the established economies. And he felt the way we could do that was to control our own goods, services, and gain income with wealth and stabilize ourselves in our community. And if we wanted to join the mainstream economy, we could now join from a position of strength. So
All right.
that was from W.E. Du Bois. Now, that was some time ago. And
Mhm.
so back there, that's exactly what they did. So I found this book just riveting. It's called Collective Courage, and she worked on it for 10 to 15 years. And so I would highly recommend everyone to go out and purchase this book, because it's an ebook, so you can read it on your devices. And I believe also it's a audio book. So if you're not reading, then you can listen to it. And excellent concept. So let's talk about when we think.
Crystal, before you go to that point, I think it's a great point you're talking about. And the listeners and viewers who are viewing this right now, I'm sure a lot of them can benefit. What we would like to appeal to you and ask you right now, audience, is we're looking for 1,000 subscribers to maintain this program and also to share all this wonderful information with you on a weekly basis. So if you could just go to the subscribe button that you see at the bottom of your screen to YouTube and subscribe. We're looking for 1,000 of you. Once we
Right.
hit that 1,000 marker, hopefully we can get it by the next 5 days. Once we hit that 1,000 marker, Crystal and we've got some gifts for you. So let just please go ahead and support us. Sorry,
Right.
Crystal. Go ahead.
So
I
no
had to
no
say that.
problem. So yes, go to our Facebook page, go to our YouTube page, subscribe to us. The button's right there, and subscribe so that you can we can share some of our wealth with you,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and our expertise and our mentorship with you. And all
yeah.
we're asking for you to do is go to our YouTube channel and subscribe.
That's it. And the
Okay.
subscription is free. It's
The
free.
subscription is free. You can go to our Facebook page to do it. You can go to you can go to our, because it's there. The link is there. And it says, help us. We just need you to subscribe to our channel.
Exactly.
So before we bring on our great guest, and this is Mr. Gregory J. Sneed, and he's a financial literacy expert. And that's going to be our topic today: is how do we collectively gather up all of our resources, and as W.D. Du Bois suggested, collectively acquire our wealth,
Yeah.
have ownership into our own goods, our own
Hmm.
supply lines, our
Hmm.
own distributions, and at the same time controlling our wealth.
The only people we should be dependent upon, Crystal, is our customers. That's the only people we should be. We shouldn't be dependent upon on a bank. We shouldn't be dependent upon a landlord or a mortgager or any of those things. Because if we're pooling our resources, we can provide ourselves those things.
Now, one of the things, Gilbert, you were sharing with me earlier that in Jamaica, Gilbert's from Jamaica. If you guys haven't recognized from his accent, from his camouflaged accent.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Jamaica. Much respect.
Just in case y'all didn't notice it. So you indicated to me that there was a similar system
Yes.
like that in Jamaica. Can you
Yes.
tell our
Yes.
audience?
So there's a system in Jamaica that we call partner. But some people in English it's called partner. Partner, partner, right? So
Okay.
that's when you team up together with some other folks and you call them your partners. But in Jamaica we call it partner.
Okay.
It's the
Because y'all
same thing.
y'all just flew it with those words.
Exactly. It's the same thing. So what it is, it's a group of folks. So let's say there's 10 of you, you come together and you pool your resources. Now, let's say each person may put $1,000 in this pot, and there are 10 of you, so that's $10,000. Now, every week, then there's a draw. They call it a draw, where all the money in the pot is awarded to one person. Then next week, all that money collected again is awarded to another person, and you keep doing it down the line until the 10th person gets their money. And that's how it
Okay.
is. Then you start it all over again, and that's how you build those resources for yourself, because you got that pool of money that you can use. So that's the same concept we're trying to use here in our community to help other small businesses. Right, Crystal?
Right. So, and so did that help? Let's say if a community needed to buy a new plow to be able to plow their land or their plot or whatever they needed, they went to each other to make that happen.
Right, right.
Okay.
Now, I know some people may say, "Oh, I've heard about that, but it's illegal." It's illegal when people try to use it as a scam. But in our system was so organized and properly done, where people sign an agreement that one, they're going to pay that 1,000 10 times, so
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the pool will get it, and two, they'll make sure that they're committed to the process to help each other. So that's what it is. There's an agreement. So no one can get their amount of money and then leave and not continue the process. And that's where the agreement comes in, the written agreement.
Now I thought, and as well, I thought I had read or heard that also happened in Africa, and it helped obviously in the other islands as well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I, I think this first started back in an African continent. So when they brought us to the Caribbean and other places as slaves, we continue some of those customs. So that's part of it. So a lot of us, and many of you may see Asians do the same thing, where the Asians, they pool their resources. You may have 10 Asian businessmen and women who come together and they pool their resources. They buy a building. They buy a
Mm-hmm.
building for that one person, pool their resources again. They buy another building for another person. So each person at the end of the day, all 10 of them in the group end up with their own building so they can run their business. The reason for that is so they don't have to pay rent to someone
Right.
perpetually.
Right.
You see what I mean? So that's the concept, and every group is using that. I'm sure Latinos have that too. They may call it something else.
And that makes a lot of sense. So when you look at other cultures, so you question, how did other cultures surpass that came from other places, and a lot of them came here with nothing.
Oh
How did
yeah,
those individuals actually how did those individuals able to surpass us
yeah,
and be able to establish themselves when they were really immigrants that came here with zero, and here we were here. But I think it was again that collective economic collective
right,
cooperative or
right.
that they were working together.
Collaboration. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's really what it is. And the reason why many of those groups surpass us is because one, they established this system that we're describing and they continue to support it. In our culture, we start it, we stop, we start, we stop. So then when you interrupt the process, then it's not going to flourish as much as it should. So again, if you look at many of those cultures, many of those many of those business entities, they supply their own funding. They don't go to banks and looking for loans, or the SBA looking for loans to buy a building or to buy machinery. They pool the resources and then they all come together and support those businesses so they can flourish. That's what we need to do here. And some people may say, "Yeah, I hear about that, but I don't trust you." That's fine. Let's sign some type of agreement and make it legitimate. Legalize it. You see
Yeah,
what I mean?
right. I mean, we make, you and I have a contract because we
Exactly.
work together. So you
Exactly.
create those partnership agreements. They're legal and they're binding. You don't write it on the back of a napkin. You actually, you
Exactly.
make sure that is legal, and
That's
you
right.
protect yourself that way.
That's right.
But you're suspicious of something that you haven't tried. So you really
Right.
truly don't know if it's going to work, but you
Right.
do know what you're doing right now does not work.
Right. Right. Right.
we
That is true.
all the evidence in the world is there that says this doesn't work.
Yes. Yes.
On no level does this work. So we have to really, this is a time right now where this is a paradigm shift. We're pivoting what we think and our mindset and how things have been working because they're not working, and we need to be able to embrace new ideas and new concepts and really be able to figure out how do we move the needle, because right now it's like we're almost starting at a new slate, and as I said at
Exactly.
the top of the show, we
Exactly.
are the new flavor right now.
Right. Right.
We are, we're the chocolate swirl.
Right. 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 And here is how I'd like to look at this, Crystal. You bring a certain set of skills and expertise to the table. I bring a certain set of skills and expertise to the table. Let's say we had 10 people in this collaborative, right?
Right.
Anyone within that group who needs their back office taken care of, they need minority and women-owned certifications, they need their infrastructure developed, I would take care of that. Anyone who needs the bookkeeping, the financials, you would handle that. And then the other 8 people, they bring something to that group, they will take care of each other. And that's how we can do this type of stuff. You know,
Right.
we don't need to go outside of our group of 10 individuals and say, hey, let's bring in this other person because we already have it here. And that's how we can do this stuff and start building communities.
Exactly. I absolutely agree with you. So again, like I said, it's a mindset. It's a mindset change. And we really have to start trusting one another.
Yeah.
And we have to realize that we don't trust one another because someone else told us not to trust each other.
Right, right.
And we know those people, the ones that told us not to trust each other, we can't trust them either. So
Right.
why are we not?
And my thing is, if you don't trust, put it in writing. You know,
Right.
that's how you get over there. That's why contract was established. Contract was established because people didn't trust each other. They go, hey, you know, I want to do business with you, but I don't trust you. So okay,
Right.
let's put it in writing. We hold ourselves accountable. Anyone who drops the ball, then there's a punitive compensation for that. You got to
Right.
pay for dropping the ball. So that's how contracts are developed, through those types of things, because people didn't trust each other.
Exactly. So we're going to bring on now our financial literacy expert and Mr. Gregory J. Sneed, and he's going to give us some of his insight. He helps individuals understand, because another thing I think for us is we don't understand how money works. We know how to spend money, and that's why we're the number one consumer, but we don't understand, I don't think, the complexities of money and really understanding its true value and the power that it provides.
Right.
So and that's because of our lack of understanding, our lack of literacy when it comes to that. And it's not just personal literacy. There's a business literacy that needs to be so you can understand how money works when it comes to business. So
and how it relates to all the things that we're trying to accomplish, because everything has its role, and that's what it is. And understanding money is understanding the role that it plays with every entity. So that's really what it is.
Exactly. So I want to welcome our guest today, Mr. Gregory J. Sneed. He
Mr.
is
Sneed.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Business Zone.
Fabulous, fabulous. I did a mic check. You guys can hear me, right?
Oh yeah.
We can hear you. So Gregory is a financial literacy expert. He's been in the financial field for over 40 years. Prior to, he was a CPA. I met him at, actually, I think, Greg, I met you at Fame.
Probably so. Either that. Yeah.
I think it was Fame. So that was a number of years ago. He had just come back from New York. He also he's been a financial, in the entertainment business as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to, so this is Mr. Gregory Sneed. He is a very smart man when it comes to what we do with money and how we should be spending our money and where we should be going right now. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sneed and tell us who you are and give us some other highlights other than what I just gave you. And then let's talk about money and how how we as Black people need to reframe and rethink our mindset, I guess.
Great. Welcome. Thank you so much, Crystal and Gilbert. Good to meet you virtually. One day we'll have the pleasure of being face to face, and hopefully by then we can still shake hands, or at least an elbow bump, you know. So it's interesting because I have the gift of financial wisdom that really started at a very young age. And I didn't see it as a gift. I saw it as a talent, but I now see it as a gift, and it's a gift that I can share with others. So, back when I was a young child, my parents teased me because they would call me Jack Benny. And most people don't understand what that is, but Jack Benny, was very tight with his money. And, there was a thing where you could, you can get by in the world without brains, but you can't get by without money.
That's right. I love it.
And so I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and and not only in Brooklyn but in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. So there were a few people.
That was a tough area.
Huh?
That was a tough area right there, Crown Heights.
Yeah. So, and it was the area in Brooklyn where most of the folks from the Caribbean came. So I had classmates as early as elementary school who were from Jamaica and Trinidad and Barbados and So I'm familiar a little bit with that Jamaican system.
Yeah.
Did they call it susu?
Well, some people call it susu. We call it partner.
Partner, right? Partner. Yeah. You're pronouncing it a little bit too.
He's trying not to show us his real. Let me step off. We're gonna step off to the side. So when I go to a Jamaican restaurant with Gilbert, and he starts talking, and I'm like, "What did you just say?"
He switched languages, right? He didn't realize he was bilingual.
Who is this guy?
He starts speaking the Jamaican and the Creole and the Patois, and you drop the H, you don't pronounce the H.
Exactly, and the R.
Yeah. I'm a Yankee man, but I've but it's interesting. You were talking about different ethnicities, about how that have borne out. The Muslim also, those who practice in the Sharia law, it's something called riba. And riba does not allow them. It's forbidden for them in the Quran to pay interest. That someone who is holding money should not be charging somebody else to have use of that money. So it's based more on barter, and it's a challenge for those who are very orthodox here in the States because they are unable to really buy property or buy a car because they're paying interest. So their bank, they have to use a sub banking system, and there are banks here that specialize in what they call riba, R-I-B-A. So anyway, just a little something there when we talk about different nationalities and how money. But the interesting thing is that the second number topic that is mentioned in the Bible is money. Mm-hmm. Money is mentioned over 800 times in the Bible. Wow. So this is a system. This is something that goes back thousands of years, and is not going in. We may change. Back in the old days, it was a little easier, perhaps, to manage your money because you physically saw it. You physically had it. Back then it was either stones, or it was gems, or it was gold, or coins, wood, things that were manufactured. So you could see that. Now, it's become difficult because it's just digits and numbers on paper or on the bank. And as you can see, we'll be getting away from physical money in very short time. So that would. So when it comes to economics, we want to deal with economic freedom, and it really has to do with property rights, rule of law. The only way that the partner system could work is that you had a banker, and you had to trust that banker that they would not disappear. It's the island, even though it's large, you can't get but so far.
That's true.
So it's not like here in the United States, and back then there wasn't too many places you could go. So if you took the money, somebody was going to find you. So there was some limitations in travel and disappearing that sort of maintained that, where that would be difficult in today to do that without some type of legal, enforcement and what have you. As free trade, obviously open markets are important, and you want to have some government intervention, but you don't want it completely government controlled. And that's where we have that balance, where this country was formed based on getting away from British rule and not having a lot of government interference. And this is where a lot of the Republicans may go back and forth, because they're trying to limit government interference because it's advantageous to them, because they can break laws. Where some others might want more government interference or intervention or control. So, and then you have to have a sound money supply. So now our Treasury just prints money. So there's a limitless supply of money. I mean, we got this CARES Act, and what is it, 4 trillion? So it wasn't down in the basement somewhere or in a locker. And they don't even print the money. They just created new money. So I think that's important from a macro standpoint. When it comes to financial literacy, you want to have financial knowledge. And there's a TIA Institute that breaks it down into different groups. So you want to have it in terms of earning, how are you earning money? How are you making wages? What's the income coming in? How are you spending money, consuming? Are you saving it? Another one is investing, borrowing, and managing debt, insuring. So you have some coverage that if you want to transfer the risk to somebody else, and then, understanding risk, and then being able to research, going to, to different sources.
Now, Greg, if you don't mind me butting in, is there any way you can repeat those again? Because I think those are critical. You said
Sure.
Earning.
And I'm a New Yorker, so I tend to talk a little fast, so I'll slow it down. So earning, consuming, saving, investing, borrowing, insuring, comprehending, and researching.
Okay, beautiful.
So when you measure that, against different communities, we take a look at. I did some research here where you have these questions, and they call it the PFIN index. So this is questions related to financial understanding, and the number of, and they'll ask questions, and they're pretty easy questions if you understand money. 55% of whites were able to answer all questions correctly.
Right.
Only 38% of blacks, African Americans, were able to answer those correctly.
Why do you think that is?
There's just lack of education, systemic oppression, 400 years of, so that is dramatic. But, that doesn't stop it as of today. And I'm going to get into a topic in a moment where if people really grasp the concepts of it, we really shouldn't have as big of a gap as we do right now. But everyone, all races here, all ethnicities here in the United States have a very low financial literacy level. And they understand certain things very, very well. So, for example, with the African American community, the number one thing that they understand is borrowing.
Right.
And they know about borrowing. They know about, maybe rates. They know about the 30-day and 31-day and 60-day. And at what point in time when you stop paying, are the enforcements coming? How many months can you not pay your car until the repo man comes? They're very proficient there. Then consuming. So buying things, we tend to be very strong consumers.
Right.
Saving is a little bit, lower.
Yeah.
Having some diversity or different ways of earning money. You might have a job. Going back to the parody and comedy of In Living Color, where the Jamaicans said, "Man, you only have one job.
15 jobs.
3 jobs.
You're not successful. You don't have 15 jobs.
You got 2 jobs." So
You're a lazy bum.
You only have 2 jobs?
you only have 2 jobs, you lazy Russ. So the culture there was more industrious than what we have here in America, where you find a lot of, at least I found a lot of the people migrating from the Caribbean, especially from Jamaica. They were very industrious. They wanted to have that income. They understood the economics. They understood the importance of that. And and while there was a lot of repression, obviously, that occurred in Jamaica, for some reason there was a more financial acumen even in the countrymen, from Jamaica than you had here. And that would be some research as to why. I don't know what that is.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. A big part of that is in Jamaica, there's no welfare system. If you don't have money coming in, you got to go create it somewhere. So that's a big part of it. There is no buffer.
That's
There's no unemployment. There's none of that. You have to go out and make it yourself.
And that is huge. That is really enlightening, man. I appreciate you sharing that with me because that in a lot of ways that system here cripples. You're used to, if you can sit home and collect, $800 a week, $600, whatever it is, you don't have to work. Whereas you're saying in Jamaica, you can't do that. You can't
do it. If you're not working, or generating a hustle somehow, you're gonna starve.
That's right. Gotcha. Okay, that's huge. So earning, going into sources. One of the, investing, is 6 on the list. Understanding risk, and sadly for me, the lowest in the African American community is insuring.
And
I sell insurance. So,
so explain that part. Explain that one.
I think a part of it is just educating that, you think that you don't need it because something's not going to happen, but insuring doesn't do anything to the risk. It just transfers the risk to somebody else for pennies on the dollar. The concept is that if you have insurance and you're paying into it, and that disaster, that calamity never happens, and you believe that that's a waste. I wasted my money. People will ask me, it says, well, I don't need life insurance. And it's like, if you have a guarantee that you're going to live for the next 20 years or 30 years, and you're right, this is a waste of money. So do you have that guarantee? Is it in writing? And so they don't have that.
But Greg, I'm going to interject for 1 minute. That's kind of interesting because a lot of our millionaires in right out of slavery, that's what they did. They sold burial insurance. And I know, what is the guy, the Black Titan? What is his name? AJ. He was out of Birmingham, and that's how he became wealthy. He sold insurance. He sold them the life insurance. Then he realized, wait a minute, they got to die. So I need to now sell the burial insurance. The
burial plot,
So now let me go over here and get the cemetery. And that's why so many of our family, our ancestors and our grandparents had plots. Like my family, there's a plot with 13, there's a cemetery with 13 plots allocated to our family. And in the South, that was what you did, right?
Sure. Yeah, nobody gets out alive.
Nobody gets out alive. But it's interesting that somewhere we shifted, because at one point we did think that was important.
Well, I think the welfare system does that. And I think the level to participate in consumerism, to buy things where, you've got individuals that will misprioritize their money to spend $200, I think it's $259 for the newest Jordans, which is insane. And not only have one, but have several pair in different colors.
Right.
or the amount of money that guys used to spend on rims and cars, and the amount of money that women might spend in salons and nail, getting hair and all that stuff. I mean, it's huge. So that's the and it's challenging, and the way that comes is through education. One of the other principles that we're going to take a look at is going back into Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
And one of the principles of Kwanzaa is Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to transition to some of the things that people can do. So some of the takeaways, not just history, the things that we can do to help collectively improve our situation through economics. And part of it is, organizing a buying club. Cooperative economics is like you were saying, that you were cooperative in the partner system to grow, where you would pay in, and then each month, or not each week or whatever the frequency was, somebody would get that.
Right.
And of course, but you'd have to have some patience because you had to wait your line. And
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But at least with the last, you didn't have to pay in anymore. I think the last one,
right? Yeah,
it's all over again.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to do that and pull money together so that if you don't have certain things, you can collectively do that. I think that's going to be huge in the housing market, where you may not be able to buy a single family home, but what if four or five families or even six families chip in and buy a fourplex? Or even a duplex, where the price of a duplex is not twice the cost of a single family home.
Right.
So, exactly.
Looking at $500,000 for a home, a duplex is not going to be $1 million in the same neighborhood. It might be 6 or 7 or 8. So now you have that, then you brought down the purchase price from 500 maybe to 350. To collaborate on that. And so you'll find maybe ways of collaborating on that and going together on the loan. Of course, that means you got to get along with the people, and that's some challenges. I think another area that too, and people are doing it now, they're organizing childcare. So you've got a lot of, and I think you'll see a lot more of that opening up after this pandemic, with people having to create new business. So you're going to see a lot more of smaller schools, smaller childcare centers, that kind of thing, so that you're not having to pay the high cost. You've got more of a neighborhood or a block. You could have a childcare center on the block, and then it could be informal, but that starts getting a little dicey in terms of rules. But at least one person, does the work to make sure that the property is secure. It has ADA or the things that are compliant to do that.
Right.
So it comes, and also when it comes to education, if you're going to homeschool, perhaps if the school system is not giving you that, then kids are having a tough time with their kids with homework. So why should each parent struggle? You would have each a family, a group of families, and they might be stronger in mathematics. So they get together. You might have 4 or 5 families that get together and help them with the homework. So I think that's going to help in terms of education. Farmers market, buying food, buying things locally to our local supply. I think it's the name of the sister, Crystal, but there's a woman that opened up it's like a produce or I don't know if she's in Compton, but she opened up like a collective fruit and produce market.
Yeah, I think it's called. I think she's out actually in the Lamert area. In fact, she's an actress. I want to say it's Solo. I think it's called Solo Cooperative, or
that's another one. Yes, there is one.
Right?
There is one. I think in I think Compton area, but there isn't. So I mean, it's, being wise about spending our money there, and not perhaps limiting. And a lot of places you'll get even produce and fruit and vegetables that are more fresh that you're getting at the market. And at a lower cost, and you're sort of building that. So these are the things that we can do. I think kids have gotten away from the children have gotten away from the entrepreneurship as a young adult. we don't have to do that here, but that was a big way for us kids to earn money, was shoveling snow.
Yeah.
So
On the East Coast, yeah.
Breaking leaves.
When I got into business with a friend of mine, a guy named Walter, and we, I think it was around age 10 or 11, we started a car wash business. We were just washing the neighborhood cars. So we would pull up and invest in the bucket and the fortunately back then we didn't get charged for water. Do now, but back then you just use as much water as you wanted. There was no meter. So we did that, and then kids used to do that, the lemonade stand, or having it was a hustle. And I don't know that kids are doing that these days. I think they're just looking to their parents as a human ATM.
Right.
But our parents, at least I can speak from, our parents really didn't have that money. So if we wanted that extra spend money, we had to do something to generate that.
You weren't going to get it that way anyway. They didn't hand out money like that. You had to earn it. You had to have chores. You had to have. Exactly. You had to understand the value of money, and they just weren't handing it. But you're absolutely right, Greg. Because I teach at Biz Camp every year for young kids between the ages of 13 and 18. And when we're interviewing the kids, we're saying, "Oh, and you're going to compete for $750," and they go, "That's nice." And you're like, "That's nice." I mean, I've even told, we had kids that were competing for $5,000. It was like crickets. They didn't go, no grass, no. So this year when we did our interviewing, we told the kids, "You will not be accepted if we don't see some sort of like, oh my God, $750. The only way you get in this camp." That you understand and get excited about money.
Yeah, exactly. So, so these are the things, we want to teach, kids skill sets. I mean, they've removed it from the schools, but back, when I was in high school, we had woodwork and shop. And, I think that a lot of individuals, let me rewind. School systems have the belief that they have all kids college ready. And that's just a fantasy.
Right.
But there's tons of opportunities in trades that pay very, very well. Whether it's plumbing and electrician. I go back to Jamaican again. There were a lot of, in Brooklyn, a lot of the contractors were the electrician. The local, the guy that we went to for electricity.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was licensed, but he was stuff with electrical.
I'm gonna tell you, he wasn't licensed at all.
Probably why he wanted cash, right? Come on,
He wasn't licensed.
Credit card is $1,000, man. But if you give me cash, it's $400.
Right.
That's the hustle, baby. That's the hustle.
Like, oh, $400. Oh yeah. I'm going to the bank. You get started. I'll be right back. We're not taking a check. So we want to support our local businesses. The organization, the Crenshaw Mall. Yeah. All right. Yeah. To keep that. So now what are we going to do about that? Or are we going to continue to shop? Or are we going to look to have, if Capri is still managing it, to have some, worthwhile vendors there? Perhaps the department stores are not going to be the anchor. Or if they are, then, really have to support that. Macy's has grades to their stores. There's A, B, C, and D. And I think the Crenshaw Macy's is probably a D. Maybe a C minus. There are very few A stores. I think there's only Century City, and there's one down in not Orange County, South Coast, and then one. So there's only about 4 or 5 A stores around here. Anyway, so we want to shop, locally. Get involved in budgeting process, get involved politically, so that we have a say so in where money gets spent. Participating in the census. So that accurate numbers, so that we're represented, because a lot of people say, well, I don't want to do that. Well, then, services are allocated based on population. Yeah. So, you got 10 people up in your house, but you only put down 2, then you're losing out, and that neighborhood, that area is losing out on resources based on inadequate or underrepresented, numbers in the census. You don't do it every 10 years.
Right.
So,
and I think so the census actually came out on April 1st, which is when we were right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. So I don't know how many people actually have responded to, or even, I mean, there's so much going on that we forgot all about the census for 2020.
Right.
And not too many, and no resources are going toward making sure that we know that we should be completing the census data.
Yeah, you know what I think, Crystal, on that real quickly? You see how when they have an Amber Alert, they send it on your cell phone, you receive that, right?
Yeah.
No, they should do that with a census too. Send it to your cell phone. Everybody has one, and then they'll be forced to do that census. They will be forced to do it.
Yeah, they also sent that to you when they told you there was a curfew.
yeah, they did. They did. So they got ways of making sure that they get their data.
That one came through. Because I turned off the Amber Alert and something else. There's three areas, but I think there's presidential. But the curfew one came through anyway because I turned.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, so just to sort of summarize, I mean, the financial education is important. I've conducted financial literacy seminars, and they're free.
Mm-hmm.
I have provided food, and the number of attendees is very low. I mean, it's crickets. Promoted, people know about it. Oh yeah, I meant it. It's not a priority because it's not. People aren't looking at it as important. Hopefully, some folks up.
Greg, I want to ask you this real quickly because this has been a prevailing issue and problem over the years for financial stuff. I was talking to a financial expert like yourself yesterday, and it's the same thing. I brought it up. I said, what is it about finances that makes small and minority-owned businesses become disinterested? What is it? Do you think maybe we need to frame it differently or say it a different way or put some incentives to it? What do you think it is?
I don't know. There's one singular thing. I think a lot of it really is the lack of education, the lack of, getting some of that training maybe from their parents. It may be inherited. It's systemic because if your mom and dad weren't good with managing money, then chances are you may not be. So you've got to pick that up somewhere. If you didn't learn, just in terms of relationships, if you didn't learn from your parents or somebody close what a loving relationship looks like, how is it? How, are you able to argue and disagree and still be able to, mend that together? If you don't see that growing up in terms of a loving relationship, then it's a real challenge. I don't care how educated you are. It's a real challenge to really have a good, solid working relationship if you've never seen an example of that, and you can't look for that partner that you meet to teach each other, because you really have to have some of that pre-existing love quotient, I'll call it,
in the DNA. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So I think that's a big piece of it. I think that you have to understand, money from how to apply it. People understand money. I do a financial course with kids, and I'll ask them, they're maybe 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and I'll ask them, what's 5 times 25? And maybe a third of them will pick it up. Now, if I ask them, if I have 5 quarters, how much money do I have? And about 2/3 will know it right away. Oh, $1.25. The math is the same.
Wow.
The math is the same, but because it relates to money, it's different. All right. So we just have to really provide that, and that's one of the things that I specialize in, is trying to make things that are financially complex, make them comprehensible to a person so that they understand it, and you can speak to them in a language that they get it, that they understand that, and that takes a little it takes some work. The way that a physician, they have to know their medical terms, but they also have to learn a way to deal with people with empathy, and to get, to have that soothing kind of way. And those two don't necessarily equate, just because someone memorizes and knows all these medical terms, and it's not just a finger, it's some name to it. But you have to have some of that I wouldn't say bedside manner, but have that understanding to be able to express things. And so they marry it together. I mean, dentists, all those in the service industry, they have to recognize that this takes two skill sets. And I think the same thing is going to happen with financial. And one of the things that I'm launching now, I think I mentioned it briefly, Crystal, is that I'm launching a financial coaching business. The soft launch of it was just last week, June 10th, in memory of my mom's birthday. She would have been 99. So that's the founding date of the company. And I'm going to be offering financial coaching to individuals. That one won't be free. That will be, for a fee.
We feel you.
But it's so important. And I think that, a lot of folks are awakened by this pandemic. And if you didn't have any thing to step back on, if you didn't have some savings, if you realize that, you only had one job, you didn't have 3 jobs, right? You only have one job, and that job got you laid off, and now you had no job. Then fortunately you have the welfare or the
unemployment,
right? But without that, you'd be forced to develop that skills. I'm really gonna that really resonated.
Oh yeah, that's true,
really
man.
Put the 2 and 2 together. That Jamaica didn't have any type of.
That is true.
People were forced to. Man, that's gonna stick with me. I appreciate that.
So Greg, how do they reach you to find out more about your financial literacy programs?
I almost teasingly said 777-9311. Why that came to my head. They can reach me at GregoryJSneed@gmail.com. And the new company, the breaking news, the new company that I've created is called Lifesaver Financial Services. So I'm here to be a lifesaver to people. Because I'm helping to protect people and their money from the rough seas and storms of life.
Okay,
so
good, man.
My tagline. But I'm building the infrastructure of that right now. Secure the domain name and the scheduling, the calendar, and we're building a microsite. So it's all that under the hood stuff, and look to be done with that probably in the next 10 days. And then, get it launched. So that's what's happening. So hopefully you guys got some great information about this. I mean, money
this is wonderful. This is phenomenal.
You can't get by without money. So the better you feel about money, the better you can feel about your life. If you're unhappy with your money, you're going to be unhappy with your life.
Yeah. That is true.
Money doesn't buy happiness.
Yeah.
But it does definitely make it damn
and Gregory, we definitely we're happy to have you here on this program. We want to invite you back real soon. So Crystal and I will talk about when that will be, but we definitely want to get you back. And I was thinking while you're talking, those 9 principles that you gave us, I think you should make a game out of that. Those kids now, they play those games. Make a game out of that, and that will entice them to want to participate. They win points or whatever when they conquer each one of the principles. So let's talk about that.
Well, I'm building it into my coaching system, and so it has value, and that's part of the cost of. That's why someone paid me a fee for that. So you got a freebie here today on that one, but there's some pieces behind it. But that's the key. You have to understand what those are. And I've been teaching financial literacy seminars for free for the last 5 years, because they're free, people don't see the value. They undervalue.
There you go. That's true.
So those who see the value and say, you know what, this is important to me. It's a priority, and I want to make this happen. That fee is sort of a down payment, or a level of commitment that said, I can do that. And in the overall scheme of things, if I can show you that you can have $500,000 or $1 million more in retirement than you have now, that $500 is a drop in the bucket. So
I hear you, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. And I did not know that your mom, I do remember when your mom passed, but my grandmother also was born June 13th. My mother was June 8th. My brother was June No, my mom was June 2nd, and my brother was June 8th. So my whole entire family was born in the month of June.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why we got to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth. Well, I did that. Remember, I was thinking about it, and it came to me. It's like, you know what? I'm going to put the founding date as June 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we are. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Great job. Great job, man.
Crystal said we go back a ways, but thank you for the invitation, and then hopefully you and your viewers got some additional information. So
definitely
right, and it's live, and I will be sending it out, and I'll send it over to you. This would be a great to kick off your business, Lifesaver Financial Services. This would be a great way, so they'll know that you know what you're talking about. Validation.
Look at you! You changed it on the screen already.
So it's imprint, a carbon footprint right there.
That's right.
FinancialServices.com. So we want to thank you, Greg. We appreciate you taking time out from your day to come in and laugh and joke with us and have a good time with us in honor of Juneteenth, but really more in honor of us really taking control of our economic financial freedom. And then we will be free from slavery once we have mastered the finance part and the economics part. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. Guys,
go backstage in the green room and get some refreshments, right?
We got some curry goat and rice and peas, man.
You know, I'm looking for a place here in Los Angeles to find some roti. I can't find roti anywhere.
Oh, you got to go to Little Kingston, man. Slauson and La Brea.
They don't have roti?
Yes.
They got roti?
They got chicken and curry chicken and roti, man. You gotta go.
I've been there. I didn't see the roti there.
They do. Ask for Tanya. She's the owner. She'll get it to you.
And everything?
Yes.
So Gilbert is a lifetime member. They tell them that Gilbert Buchanan sent you, and then they'll go in the back and bring you the specialty plates.
Tell them Gilbert Buchanan sent you. Ask for Tanya.
I've been there. I haven't been in a little while because that parking lot can be a little challenging getting in and out.
Yes.
So
you gotta ask for it. It's up there on the board. You gotta ask for it, man. Roti. Yeah, it's there. Because I had it there before. It's good.
Okay. I went when they opened. I don't know if I've been recent, but I don't know if I saw roti before.
Call Tanya and you tell her Gilbert sent you. You'll get your roti, man. You'll be hooked. You'll be hooked.
You might even want to meet him over there. That way you'll have first class VIP treatment every time you walk in the door.
That's right.
I can almost walk there. And there's another place on Centinela that's got patties. No cocoa bread, but they got patties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this place has the patties. They've got the roti. They got everything, man.
Yeah. Sometimes they have sorrel.
Yeah.
But they got the ginger beer. So yeah, no, I got you.
All right, man. Take care, Greg. We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk.
All right, Greg. Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate it. All right, Mr. Gill. That was a great show.
Oh, it was. I'm loving it. We learned quite a bit there from Greg. So that's good.
We did. Yeah. So awesome stuff. So we're gonna wrap up, and we just want to let everybody know I am going to screen share again because I want our people to
be informed and be prepared.
Be informed about we're 4 years on the air. July 8th. We need to celebrate. We are going to we want your help to help us get to 1,000 subscribers. So go to our YouTube channel. If you're not there, subscribe, and you can follow the link that's on the screen right now. And we need you to subscribe to help us reach our 1,000 subscribers. So we want you guys to do that. We enjoy being here, but we need to really step it up. We've been on the air for such a long time, and we have a measly little 104, 165. It is not even worth discussing. And I don't even know why we do, but anyway, we do. So if you guys love us as we love you, then we truly would appreciate you helping us out. So,
And in exchange for the 1,000 subscription, Crystal and I are going to provide you guys, your business, some free services. So, just make sure you make that happen, and we'll definitely follow through, help you guys to get out of this COVID and get to the next level.
Exactly. Wow, Gilbert. Okay, we're a little bit over, but hey, we're on our own schedule these days. So
Yes, this is good. So we want to remind them again what the Business Zone is about. The Business Zone is a platform where Crystal and I provide you, your small business, guidance, coaching, education, enlightenment, and resources to help your business become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. So all the information you're getting here is very vital. Many of you guys would have to pay thousands of dollars for that. We're offering for free, and that's why the subscription to our platform is so important. You guys go there, go to the YouTube subscription button on the Business Zone, and you click on that so we can help you out. We're here every Friday from 3 to 4. The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.
all righty. So we want to thank you guys, and we're going to sign off for this week, and we'll be back next week with another fun and entertaining and inspiring and motivating show. How about that, Gilbert?
That sounds great to me. And happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Happy Juneteenth. We'll see you guys, and we're going to tap out with the music. I don't know if anybody else can hear it.
I can't hear it. What happened?
I don't know.
Well,
but we are out of here. Have
all
a
right.
great weekend. Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.